to theaters this week is a brand new espionage thriller starring Rami Malek from Mr. Robot called The Amateur. Now, when this trailer dropped, if you saw it, I'll but guarantee you were in one of two camps. Wow, that actually looks pretty good. Or if you were like me, wow, that looks like the lamest version of about 100 movies we've got over the past 5 years. I have a theory The Amateur is actually a double entendre for the amateur filmmaking behind this because this was a convoluted mess. So what the movie's about, basically you have Rami Malek playing this nerdy IT guy, and early on into the movie his wife gets killed. So what's the only reasonable thing he can do? He can take revenge against them, like this new genre of John Wick clones. But there's one glaring problem for this guy. He doesn't have any skills. Sure, he's good with technology, he's good with security, but he can't fight anybody, he can't kill anybody, so huge hurdle to get over. So he's going to use his brain instead of his fists or weapons to kill these enemies. So that's the guy we're going to be watching and rooting for. Think of it like we're rooting for the guy that John Wick would have thrown into lockers in high school. So starting off with the positives of this movie. Let me think. Rami Malek is in this, playing the dorky IT guy. He's pretty good in that role, just like Mr. Robot. I think he's perfectly cast though, in all seriousness. I think he was basically born to play this like oddball role, and it sort of fits for what they're trying to do. Sure, he's a good actor, but I think it's just his physical appearance, like his mannerisms, his body language, the way he looks paired with his acting. It does sell you on the fact that this guy would be a dorky IT worker. Oh, he nails that? Is that even a compliment? The other thing being, this movie is pretty star-packed. I mean, it's got Jon Bernthal, it's got him, it's got Laurence Fishburne, so there's a lot of people you're going to recognize. Now, do they flesh these characters out? Are they all worthy of the time on screen? Not really. This is a book adaptation, I guess, and the problem a lot of these movies run into is it's very obvious there was a lot more time put into the script in the book, because we have limited time when you have a movie and you have to edit stuff down. I'm going to get into that as well. But this is a movie that feels like there's a lot of characters that are just kind of there. Like they're obviously important to the story, but you don't really care or know about them because there's so many convoluted plot lines. You have Jon Bernthal's character. He's just kind of there, but it doesn't really feel like this guy even wanted to be in this movie. Then you have Laurence Fishburne, who's playing the guy who ends up testing him to see how skilled he actually is. You have Holt McCallany, I believe his name is. He was in Mindhunters. He's basically playing the exact same role he played in that show in this movie as well as his boss. So you have a lot of moving parts and a lot of talent, obviously. But let's talk about why the vast majority of people are going to see this movie. We love revenge action films. This is a little bit of a different stance because, again, we're taking a dork's perspective on it instead of the big action hero. So I guess the question that comes up is this movie satisfying in the way it's trying to be told, or would I rather just watch a traditional action hero? Me personally, I'd rather watch any of those 100 versions that have come before it, like the Jason Statham movie we got last week. It feels like in the recent years, Hollywood is really pushing the boundary in how much like nerdiness we can inject into action films. We had that movie Nobody a couple of years ago. That was okay. We had Love Hurts earlier this year. That movie was like insufferably boring. Then you have this movie, which is somewhere in between those two movies. It's worse than Nobody, definitely better than the other one. But I just don't think it's very relatable or interesting to root for like your everyday guy. Sure, that might appeal to some people. I want an action hero, somebody who's just a total badass, not trying to root for the guy who brings John Wick his coffee. That's just my thing. Because what they're trying to do with this and the way they're trying to build the kills, they're not that satisfying. The trailer shows the best kill, that pool scene. That's like this film's magnum opus, the pool. So they're not even having enough fun to justify the entire nerdy IT thing they're going for with this movie. You just get this very convoluted movie with like 15 plot lines. This movie's about 2 hours long. You could have cut probably half of this movie out. It just feels like filler and it has no purpose whatsoever to the central story. It also feels like a lot of this movie was straight cut out of it. The way this movie jumps from scene to scene, the editing, very wonky. It's almost like they already removed about 30 minutes from it, which is absolutely wild to say for a movie that's 2 hours. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that felt like it was playing both sides, because this is a movie that's 2 hours long, but simultaneously feels like there were tons of edits and cuts to it. How you have a movie that runs this long, that has such little continuity and so much poor editing that just feels like scenes were hacked from the middle of it, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that did both. If you're a huge fan of the genre and you just love every single action movie you see, regardless of how good it is or how interesting it is, that's just your playground, you're probably going to have a good enough time with this. But as somebody who goes to the theater so much and sees all of the brand new action movies, this felt like the most derivative cardboard cutout like clone of all of the other ones I've seen in the past 2 years. Absolutely nothing memorable about this movie. Sure, the main guy's pretty good, as always, playing this weird guy. But everything else about this, the continuity, the wonky editing, all these plot lines that are all jumbled up with 15 named actors, felt like a book adaptation that didn't need to happen, an action movie that didn't need to happen, just the worst version of that movie Nobody that came out in every way a couple of years ago. Really didn't have that good of a time with this film. It dragged. I was bored for the vast majority of it. I think this movie is background noise. If you guys did get around to seeing The Amateur a bit early like me? Comment down below, let me know. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, join me. I love talking movies with you. I will see you in the next review. Peace.